Even though we're both round, we're still skinny legends.
Skinny!
Hey skinnies! So today we're going to be doing a mukbang and spilling even more tea. And we're going to be eating chips and dip.
And cereal in a cup.
So let's get started. So do you have any stories first?
So first I'd like to talk about my experiences in 5th grade. And it's not going to be like anything like childish or anything. Okay, so I want to talk about this one kid. Or this guy. Okay. I should be eating. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to. He doesn't deserve it.
One of these days we're going to get in trouble.
So, me and my best friend at the time would, like, it was like right when, it was like the last time that I went to a school that had a playground. So me and my best friend would always go on this like spinny contraption thing. And it was like the funnest thing ever to us. So we always just did that every time for lunch. And there was always this guy there who would always help push the people that went on it. And so one day, like, we weren't friends, but we were like talking. He was in another class, but he had friends who were in my class. And yeah, we would talk and stuff, and we were kind of like acquaintances. But one day, while we were going back to class after lunch, he's like walking kind of behind me, like a few feet away. And I'm just walking by myself. All of a sudden, I hear his friend say, "Yo, my friend likes you," and I'm like, "Huh?" And that is what like changed everything else. Like, and mind you, I think 5th grade was the school year that I wasn't absent as much as the other ones, and I actually liked 5th grade too. I miss 5th grade.
I can't relate.
But
I got bullied.
When don't you?
See, but now I get everybody back. One day I'm just gonna go like this.
So after that day, everything basically changed. It was one of those like crushes that like you would bully the other person when you liked them, and that's what he did. He basically like bullied me. And he would talk to this like duty aide that was like around the play area. And she would like pull me aside and talk to me about him and try to convince me that he's a good guy. I should give him a chance. I'm like, I don't like him.
See, but why would his mom do that?
No, it wasn't his mom. It was another one. His mom worked somewhere else in the cafeteria, I think. Yeah, his mom worked at the school, but she worked at the cafeteria. And he always like threatened to tell on me to her, and I'm like, I don't care. Do it. What's your mom gonna do?
I bet.
He would always get his friends to like throw, because they had this like little bucket of like dodgeballs or handballs or whatever, and he'd always get his friends who were in my class, there's like 2 other kids, to like throw them at me from like around the playground. I'm like, why?
If that was me, you would have been hearing me singing all the other kids with.
So I was just like, I was so done at the time. And I think one day I went off on him.
What did you even say to him?
They had these like tetherball courts, you know, back when everybody used to play tetherball or whatever. And he would always play there too, as like an alternative to the spinny thing. And I went up there one day because my friend was there. And she's like, "Oh, come play." I'm like, "Oh, I don't know how to play." And he's like, I'm like, "I don't want to." And then the guy who liked me was like, "Oh, well, I'm playing and my wrist hurts, but I don't give a shit that your wrist hurts, okay?
I don't care that you broke your elbow."
I don't care that you broke your elbow. Right? But that kid was awful. Like, he always bullied me. And it was so weird, too, because I had detention one time for I don't know what. And the detention was, like, held in my classroom. And he had detention, too. So he was sitting at this other table. I was just sitting at my desk trying to catch my homework. And his friends were in there, too. So I see him. Literally, like, he's like this. And he has, like, all dreamy eyes staring at me. And doesn't blink. His friend looks at him and goes, "Oh, you like her?" And I'm like, sitting there kind of like, what is going on right now? And I didn't like him, honestly. Like, I did not like him. I didn't like him because he was mean to me. And he wasn't that cute.
Shay, send it.
He'd always, like, try to get people to, like, ask me out for him instead of doing it, like, himself. And I kept, like, saying no after no, and everybody just kept asking. Like, he knew. It was around that time, like, oh, you knew everybody in your class or whatever. So I had these, like, after-school projects to do. And there was a girl who was in his class, and she's like, "Oh, he wants to go out with you." I'm like, "Fine, whatever." I just agreed, or I didn't agree, but, like, I just said, "Whatever, I guess, go ahead." Because, like, I was just so annoyed at the point. And then, like, my teacher moves our seats, so I sit next to one of his friends, and he's like, "When are you gonna break up with him?" I'm like, "Break up with him?"
Like, when did we become a thing?
Yeah, I was like, when did this happen? He's like, he like won't stop talking about you, and it's annoying. I'm like, I mean, I'm saying. I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. Or you guys tell him for me, because I don't want to talk to him. And you know what else? That fool had plans to kiss me on the last day of school. I'm like, you know what? If you have plans to kiss me on the last day of school, you're about to catch these hands, okay?
And I'll do it again. Bop, bop.
But unfortunately, that wasn't what happened. He didn't even try to kiss me, and he was just talking to me. And
I wish he would have, just so I could hear you tell the story of how you beat him up.
I know. So yeah, basically on the last day of school, we didn't. None of that happened. He didn't try to kiss me. I didn't slap him or whatever. We just ended up talking, and I was telling him I was about to move away.
So, in high school, where we used to go to before this whole COVID thing wrecked everything, I was in an English class, and I was still a freshman, and this girl named Valerie, I hated her. I had a few classes with her. She was nosy. She was a hypocrite. She was just overall evil. Anyways. So we had a substitute teacher this one day. Whenever a story starts with begins with like a substitute teacher, you know it's gonna go south. I had like a few friends in there, but like the teacher would always move us around because we'd be talking too much, but we would always find a way to talk. So there was this girl named Angel, and since it was a substitute teacher, she just thought it was a good idea to sit next to me. And when me and her, we're like loud. She brings out my loud side, yeah.
What's this for food?
I don't know.
Why did you bring it out?
Beautiful palette.
It's just sitting right here, wide open.
I don't know why I brought it out. I was with this girl named Angel, and like she's kind of like hood, so she does bring out like a loud side to me. So we were talking, and then this girl named Valerie over here talking about us. So then we got like annoyed, and we were talking shit about her. And I need to find a picture of it. Anyways, this is my friend. That's Angel right here. I'm gonna give her a little shout out. So she was talking smack. So then we started a little bit of an argument, and the substitute teacher wasn't even doing nothing. She just thought it was funny. Like she was just like kind of laughing, kind of brushing it off, as if it was just like, oh, they're just like messing around or whatever. But like I hated this bitch. And oh, I don't remember what she said, but then it was basically like, oh, you're not gonna do anything. So she thought I wasn't gonna do nothing, and she kind of started to walk away. I picked up a chair over my head, and I was about to throw it, and the whole class started to rush me to not do it. And then like the substitute teacher finally got the hint that we were not playing, and then she wanted to get mad at me, like if it was me who started it. I'm just like, well, I didn't do nothing, and I was kind of like fighting with the teacher to give me back the chair. So it was just like back and forth of us trying to pull the chair. So anyways, so she left, and that was kind of it. But who was that girl? I still know her, and she knows I hate her. Anyway, so yeah, that was the time I almost threw a chair at somebody's head, and I would do it again.
Once again, this takes place in 5th grade because that's the year that happened to everything happened with me. There was this other guy in my class, and he was like one of the smart kids in the class. This guy, we're gonna call him Unicorn for the sake of
not putting his name out there.
Yeah, and it's like a reference. Anyway, so yeah, Unicorn was one of the smart kids in class. It was me, him, and another kid. I'm not saying the other people were like below standard, like, but we were just like the smarter kids. Anyway, we were actually really good friends and stuff, and like we always talked and hung out like when we could. And this girl who only spoke Spanish was a new student in the class, and she sat across from me, and Unicorn told me that he liked her. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll try to set you guys up. But like I wasn't trying to like force them together.
Well, was that everybody's childhood?
Trying to set somebody up.
Yeah, like I was like, oh, I like her. Like, okay.
There was like a straight up like marriage at my school. But they didn't use like a ring pop. There was like an actual like plastic ring.
Oh my god!
Anyway,
I would use a ring pop if I could eat it there.
Same. So yeah, I would like talk with them during like recess or whatever, and try to get them to talk to each other and stuff. It was at the time where I knew Spanish, so I could talk to her back. After school was over, I supposedly gave my number to Unicorn. And so he didn't even text me till like years later. I'm just minding my own business, going about my day. I all of a sudden get this text that says, "I love you, Ariana."
Like, who's this?
Like, no name. It was a random number, not even a hi.
This is block.
It wasn't even like a hi. Who is this? Or this is me.
See, but I don't understand why he did that. Why couldn't he have just checked if it was you first? Imagine he sent it to like a different person.
Right? Imagine if I had changed my number and somebody else got my number. That would have been awkward for him.
It would have been funny.
So, I kept like asking like, who is this? And he's like, I've been in love with you for so long.
Like, bro, just tell me your name.
I'm like, I'm not asking about that. I'm asking who you are and why you're texting me this right now. He's like, oh, it's Unicorn from school. And I'm like, I thought you liked what's her name? And he's like, no, I've always liked you. I'm like, well, why didn't you say anything?
That is like the worst thing. They're like, no, I always loved you.
I'm like, oh, why didn't you say anything? And why did you like fake liking her? He's like, I don't know, I was too shy. We kept texting like back and forth, and I like have some of our old texts, but not like when we first started where he said I love you. I was just so uncomfortable at the time. I was like, what's going on here? Like, why are you all of a sudden saying it now? He's like, I should have said it before, and it was too late, or I didn't want to wait till it was too late. I'm like, well, it's kind of too late, because I'm like in another like town. Like, it was like a few minutes away from where I used to live. So we would text back and forth, and you know, I would try to like be nice to him. I obviously didn't have feelings for him because that's weird.
It was straight people. Mm-hmm.
Straight, yeah. I didn't want to talk to him anyway, but I was just trying to be nice. And he would like be like, oh, please go out with me. He'd ask me like every time, like, please go out with me, I love you, or this or that. Like,
even I'm not that desperate.
I don't want to. Like, I really don't want to. Like, I'm uncomfortable. And then one day I was like,
I would have just gone out for him, just for him to take me to gift dinner.
And I was like, I don't want to go out with you, but maybe we could meet up one day. Which never happened.
Good.
Started asking me these like personal, like inappropriate
Creepy questions.
Yeah, like
Pedophile.
about like, you know, our bodies and stuff, and I'd be like, I'm uncomfortable answering that, so please stop asking these questions. And at one point, he asked me to send feet pics.
Really?
Yeah.
You never told me that.
I swear I did. I was in Visalia at the time, and like I was texting him, and he said, "Oh, can you send me a picture of your foot?" I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Just can you send it to me, please?" I'm like, no, I'm not gonna send you a picture of my feet." He was one of those people. He told me about his thing.
Well, yeah, I knew that part, but I didn't know.
And he asked about.
Why am I more concerned about the feet pics than anything?
Because people that like feet are weird. They always end up being like pedophiles or what. I was so uncomfortable with talking to him after that. I just didn't know like what to do.
I've been so uncomfortable.
I was, and I told him like I'm not comfortable with sending you my feet. So after that I blocked him from my phone number, from Snapchat. For some reason my dumb self later on unblocked him, and then straight away I get a text message like, "Why did you block me?"
He was obviously waiting to wait. How do they get a notification when you unblock them?
I don't know. But no, I unblocked him and I was like, okay, I'm sorry for blocking you. I was just really uncomfortable. I didn't know how to handle things at the time. So I tried being civil. I tried being nice. Like, hey, hi, how are you? How you been? I'm sorry that I did this. Whatever.
Mistake.
He's like, oh, I'm good. It's okay. I'm sorry. I made you uncomfortable. I'm like, yeah. So we just, like, we're talking. We're trying to be friends again or whatever.
Can't relate.
And I was like, do you select me? Because it was like, I think like a year or a few months later at least. I was like, do you select me? He says, yeah. I'm like,
after you stop talking to somebody and like they ghost you, why would you still? That's his fault. That is his fault. I'm gonna say it right now.
Yeah. And I'll remind you, I did not like him. I only thought of him as a friend. I friends with him so hard. Like, we were good friends. And then he had to go mess it up for liking me. But yeah, he was just so disturbing and stuff. And he almost sent me a pic. And I was begging him not to. I was literally begging him, do not send me that picture. Like,
I mean,
he's like,
blackmail.
fine, I won't. I was like, thank you. He ended up not sending it, which is good because that was nightmare material. I wasn't trying to like go out with him or anything because I honestly didn't like him that way. I didn't like anybody. Honestly, I didn't like anybody in school. I was surprised that like somebody liked me. 2 people liked me, and they were both like terrible.
Creepy.
I stopped talking to him, but.
Good.
And then I text him again, or no, he texts me randomly sometimes asking.
He still does it?
Well, he hasn't in a while, but the last time I remember, like, he texted me out of nowhere, and I'm like, what do you want now?
Honestly, me.
I didn't say that, of course. I was trying to be nice.
Can't relate.
I was like, straight up, what does this dude want? Like, he already proved how creepy he was. He overshot his shot.
After it's a definite no.
Exactly.
Like, of course, like, try your best.
Like,
but, like, after a point, you just gotta not be creepy about it and just stop.
Like, you asking, like, him asking me out so many times.
It's just
after
creepy.
that.
It's just creepy when people do that.
Like, what makes you think that, like, time after time, I'm just gonna say yes after one point? Like, no, that's not how it works.
And she's like a bent person. Once she's on one thing, she's not gonna go back on it. And you know that.
I guess. I don't even know what you mean, honestly, but...
Like, once you say something, it's done. Like,
yeah. Sometimes I change my mind, but, like, most of the time, like, if it's...
I've never known her to change her mind. Name one time. Exactly.
I get it. Oh, alright, fine. So, I was gonna start doing my eyebrows, but I forgot. Do you have a mirror? I'll post the links to these palettes, or at least the link to the shop, in the description below, because the girl who sells us these they're really good and cheap.
This was like, how much? 17? And then that was like $10.
This one's $10, yeah.
All of them are really cheap. I think the cheapest palette she's had was $10.
Yeah.
Another palette.
Her palettes are really good. Her other makeup products, I always got this eyebrow pencil from her. Those palettes, highlighter, matte eyeliner. Yeah, she has really good stuff. So I'm gonna put her link down below. Please check her out, and I'll put a screenshot of her Instagram here too. But yeah, check her out. She has really good products, and she ships. But if you're local, she'll deliver. And yeah, she's
pretty good.
Stuff's really good. Yeah. Okay, so
a little bit of free advertising.
Yeah, honestly. So the real tea begins here.
I'm like excited.
Okay. Let me start doing. So at the beginning of freshman year, I had this class for first period. It was a computer graphics class, basically like Photoshop and all that jazz. Yeah, I had the class, and there was this girl in there who I won't expose her name. Let's call her Tree.
Every time we give somebody a separate name, it has a little bit of a reference to their actual name.
Yes, like Unicorn earlier. Anyway, so I was like by myself at that class because obviously I was new to the school. I didn't know anybody from years prior.
So you didn't know anybody there?
I didn't know anybody at the time because I was new to the school. And after a few weeks, this girl starts talking to me, and she's a senior. And I thought she was really cool at first because she was like a really peppy and like happy and like cheerful person.
Should we put a picture of her up?
No.
What's
the point of a name?
I was like, what?
What? So, anyway,
I'm ready to expose people.
She was a pretty cool person, and I liked hanging out with her. She had like this little friend group for lunch. I would go hang out with them.
I think I hung out with you one time and we all took a picture together.
Yeah, I deleted those pictures.
It's on my Instagram still, so if you see both of us with another person, you might find it out.
Yes. But, yeah, she was really nice at first. She was one of those people that's, like, active, so, like, the first time that, we actually, really hung out together was for, homecoming. I went to go spend the night at her house because she invited me to go to homecoming with her, obviously as a friend.
Oh, and her family.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I go to her house, and I spend the night there, and we go to homecoming, and we had a good time.
Yeah, you spent the night?
Yeah.
What was her house like anyways?
Her house is pretty nice. Honestly, it's a pretty nice house.
It's a dog.
We were friends for a good while. Yeah, but I stopped going to school, and she's like, oh, where are you? I miss you, and stuff. And she always asked me to hang out. And I'm not one of those people that likes to go outside much, so obviously this quarantine's doing me a favor, sort of.
I mean, I did like going out, because we used to go to the mall all the time, though. Yeah. Well, once a month, or once every 3 months. Yeah. All the time.
Yeah, we used to go out to the mall, which was really fun because we always bought stuff and.
Yeah, I mean for us that's all the time because we like not being around that many people all the time. So.
Yeah. Yeah, we'd always go with one of our other friends or something like that.
Imagine they talk to us and be like, "Oh, was that about me?" Well, as the shoe fits.
Yeah, after I went to school, she'd always ask to hang out. And yeah, I wasn't one of those people that went out a lot unless it was to the mall with
me and other people.
Yeah. But she'd always ask to hang out. She'd always ask to go do something fun. I was like, okay.
Girl, at this point you should know that she does not like going out.
And I told her that too. I'm like, I don't really like going out, but we could do something, I guess. And
Go to a restaurant.
she'd ask me to hang out, but then say it's up to me to pick where to go. I'm like, no.
Like, if you're gonna ask, you should have a place in mind.
Yeah, if you're gonna ask me, don't say, oh, it's up to me to pick where to go. And then I say something like, oh, let's go to Mulligan's. And she's like, why Mulligan's? I'm like, you asked me. You said it's up to me. We ended up not going because I was being bratty.